You see Chris Barrett is suing Bungie. What's he suing them for? Defamation or something? Wrongful termination? And other news from Christopher Barrett right here. The past 9 months following my departure from Bungie have been very difficult and painful for me, as I've had to endure rampant speculation, unfounded attacks on my reputation, innuendo about what happened behind the scenes to cause me to be fired after 25 years of loyal service. I want to thank everyone who has been there for me. I've eagerly awaited the opportunity to get the truth out there and tell my side of the story, and now is that time. Today, I filed a lawsuit against Sony and Bungie to hold them accountable for their conduct and the damage that has been done to my reputation and my career. I'm confident that the facts are on my side and look forward to clearing my name through the legal processes. Because this is a pending legal matter, there's nothing else I could say about it at this time. This is the guy. Okay, so this was one of the Destiny 2 game directors and then ended up becoming the game director for Marathon. Was let go, yeah, this from Bungie, was let go for sexual misconduct. Oh my God. Ex-dev leader Christopher Barrett accuses Sony and Bungie of firing him to avoid a $45 million payment. Christopher Barrett was one of the prominent developers who was fired a few years ago during the Me Too scandals that hit the game industry. But Barrett, a game artist, filed a lawsuit today against his former employers Sony Interactive Entertainment and Bungie, alleging they fired him to avoid giving him a $45 million payment he said he was entitled to. Barrett's lawsuit said the defendants deliberately destroyed Barrett's reputation by falsely and publicly insinuating they had investigated Barrett and found he had engaged in sexual misconduct. Defendants did not care that none of it was true. They had blatant motivations for their brazen scheme. And that was the payout he said he was entitled to under his employment agreement. The lawsuit went on to say the companies were motivated by a need to shift blame for and deflect attention away from their massive business failures. And to achieve those corporate objectives, they were willing to sacrifice Barrett. While that sounds despicable, Barrett was accused of crossing the line between professional and personal behavior. In the course of his journalistic investigation of the Me Too scandal, Bloomberg interviewed 8 women in gaming who accused Barrett of sending inappropriate text messages. A long career in ruin. Barrett started his career in the video game industry by creating maps and levels for the game Myth for free as a fan at night, and after working his day job in New York. The lawsuit said Bungie, the maker of Myth, recruited Barrett, and for the next 25 years, Bungie and Barrett had a remarkable ride. The suit said Barrett drove the artistic development of some of the world's most legendary video game franchises, including Halo and Destiny, the latter of which has been nominated for Best Ongoing Game at the 2024 Game Awards, acquired a valuable equity interest in Bungie, and became the driving force and lead designer for Bungie's most important new gaming project, Marathon. That ride ended abruptly in 2024 when Sony, which had acquired Bungie for $3.6 billion in 2022, acting in concert with Bungie, removed Barrett from his position in charge of developing Marathon and then baselessly fired him, allegedly for cause following supposed investigation, the lawsuit said. Barrett alleges he was told about an investigation into his behavior when he was on a mental health leave. He alleges he attended the interview meeting with Sony's legal department, but was not advised to bring legal counsel, and he said he was never shown any of the text messages. Barrett was never asked whether he had ever engaged in inappropriate sexual conduct, whether he ever sent inappropriate sexual or pornographic materials to a coworker, or whether he ever retaliated against a coworker for rebuffing his advances or discriminating against a female colleague on the basis of her sex. Barrett was not asked those questions because Barrett did not engage in and has not been accused of any such conduct, the lawsuit alleged. Less than 3 weeks after this interview, Barrett was notified via Microsoft Teams that he had engaged in unspecified gross misconduct and would be terminated for cause. Defendants refused to explain further and told him that nothing he could say would make a difference, despite never giving him a chance to engage with the allegations in the first place, the lawsuit said. The cause was a vague violation of Bungie's harassment policy, the lawsuit said. They then completed the Machiavellian trifecta by providing wildly misleading statements to Bloomberg designed to deflect blame for Sony's poorly performing $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie and delays in video game production by casting shade on Barrett for his role in Marathon, and shift blame for their own public #MeToo promise by falsely insinuating that the accusations of severe misconduct had been directed at Barrett when they had not, the lawsuit said. The lawsuit also said Sony's $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie has been a disaster. Okay. All right. Has struggled to meet financial targets, has fallen behind on deadlines, and Marathon, a centerpiece of the transaction, has been the subject of intense public criticism by terminating Barrett for cause. Defendants could save $45 million and pin the Marathon issues on Barrett in one fell swoop. Bungie struggles should not have been a surprise. The lawsuit continued before the Sony acquisition. Bungie was in a difficult... Why does this matter? Why? All right, I can keep reading. Oh my God, it just keeps going. Oh my Lord. Hold on. While denying any role in such behavior, Barrett alleged in the lawsuit that he witnessed a very senior Bungie executive texting him and others sexually suggestive material, including lewd photographs, texts about his sex life, including graphic descriptions of particular sex acts, and texts concerning the appearance of women working for Bungie. The lawsuit alleged the same senior Bungie executive frequently showed up for work, drunk, attending group meetings while clearly intoxicated, and engaged in sexual conduct at Bungie-sponsored events, and said one of Bungie's founding members made frequent sexist and racist comments in group settings. For example, in a leadership meeting, he joked that a woman's place is barefoot and pregnant. What? Barrett, okay, but Barrett's pretty much saying was all the people were doing worse shit than me, is what he's saying. Barrett reprimanded him over email, but he faced no consequence. So he's like, that guy said that shit. He said women should be barefoot and pregnant. During an interview, a potential hire told Barrett that Bungie should name a Destiny faction the Rotten Cunt. Barrett reported the comments of the group evaluating the candidates and insisted that Bungie not hire him. Leadership still hired the candidate. What? A Destiny faction called the Rotten Cunt? My only question is like, okay, yes, obviously you shouldn't say things like this, right? Especially if you're trying to get hired. But what's the context? Is this future war cults? You know, maybe. Is Lixme a part of that squad? I'm actually pro Lixme, you know? I don't need to get canceled right now. I'm shut the fuck up. The lawsuit said a female office administrator shared explicit stories about her sexual exploits, and at least one Bungie employee frequently exposed himself in the office, including by pulling down his pants in the middle of the office and pressing his exposed buttocks against the glass overlooking the entire studio. Yeah, can't do that. It was probably funny, but you can't do it. No, I wouldn't say. Bungie conference room isn't a Diddy freak off. Can y'all calm down? Look. I want y'all to know this is just deflection. This is literally just like, hey, let me just say this. Why wait till now to press a lawsuit? You were terminated how long ago? Over a year ago? Because like he was terminated, but nothing publicly came out for why he was terminated. He was terminated a long time ago. Why not press the lawsuit then? This lawsuit seems to be occurring after it got leaked for his termination. Despite the Me Too problem, Sony chose to go ahead with the acquisition of Bungie. The lawsuit alleged in January 2022, Barrett signed an agreement that would have paid him in the $45 million range. On January 31st, 2022, Sony announced the $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie. The deal closed on July 15, 2022. Barrett got a $1.8 million payment, but was due $45.6 million. Damn, that is much less than $45 million. Still a lot of money, but much less. And that's why we're never going to see Luke Smith again, everybody. I guarantee he probably got more than that. Luke Smith might have just walked away with $100 million. You think he's going to go back to making Destiny? That man, he's probably in Miami right now. Now, Barrett's lawsuit claimed that Bungie lost its autonomy because the division underperformed Sony's expectations on performance metrics and financial targets. In May 2023, Barrett was publicly revealed as the game director on Marathon. That's right. We saw the Vidoc. In October 2023, Bungie had a mass layoff of around 100 people. Cost cutting ensued, and games such as Marathons were delayed. By February 2025, Sony Games head Jim Ryan announced 8% of Sony's game group would be laid off. That was 900 people. Barrett moved to Florida, and while there, he was replaced by Joe Ziegler as game director of Marathon and was blamed for Marathon's delays. The lawsuit alleged. Barrett was renamed franchise game director. In effect, he was moved upstairs with nothing to manage, while Barrett's manager allegedly belittled him publicly. Barrett then filed for a mental health leave. Then the investigation began. That's so strange. So they didn't get... Wait a minute. They didn't get rid of him. So Barrett was renamed. He was given a new position, franchise game director, but with nothing to manage. So y'all are saying like quiet quitting. But let me just say, can I just bring this up? What if he did stay quiet? What if Christopher Barrett went upstairs, so they say here, and just managed nothing, just sat there and collected 40? Could he just collect his 45 million? Could he have just done that? It sounded like he was about to still get paid $45 million for doing nothing. Barrett then filed for a mental health leave, though. Then the investigation began. So the investigation began. Weeks later, Barrett was fired, and after his termination in July 2024, 155 more people at Bungie were all absorbed into Sony, and 220 more Bungie jobs were eliminated. Okay, so Barrett, okay, not a year ago. Earlier this year, Barrett was terminated. All right. I don't know, guys. How are we feeling about this? What are we thinking, right? I don't know. I don't know Christopher Barrett personally. I've never met the man. I'm not saying that Christopher Barrett couldn't be a good game director for Marathon, but I do think Joe Ziegler, from a resume perspective, with his experience with Valorant, I do think he's the better choice, considering Marathon is primarily a PvP game, right? You know, I think that the artwork, I say this, you know, Christopher Barrett got started, like his main thing was like art, right? But I think what Joe Cross has done with the artwork for Marathon has been fantastic. There's one big selling point for Marathon that I've seen, which we don't have any gameplay, we don't know. But at least from what we've seen from the trailer and stuff, like the art direction that they're going with Marathon looks really, really good. And as far as I know, all of that's been done by Joe Cross. Let it set on court if Bungie actually has 8 people that got them spicy texts. He's not getting a dime. Here's where it's an issue. And man, I don't want to create any online enemies, man. I don't want to do this. Never mind. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm out of this. Which is right. We're going to wait till court. We'll see how this plays out. What happens, happens. Who knows?
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.